Hey there everyone, welcome back to another Game Vault video. As always, I'm Captain Beefy with the Game Vault, and today we're going to talk about Microsoft, Call of Duty, and Game Pass. And we're not in that order, but all at once. So anyway, let's cue up the music and we'll get right to it. Well, it's been kind of a weird and rough and tumble couple days here with news with a lot of this ESG, SPI, all this crazy crap going on with games like the new Assassin's Creed and whatnot. But we're going to talk about something a little bit different. And that's Microsoft is reportedly taking the nuclear option and releasing the next Call of Duty day one on Game Pass. Now, before we get into this article, tell me what you think about that down in the comments. Do you think this is a good thing? Now remember, Microsoft just acquired Activision for what? $70 billion or some crazy amount of money last year? I mean, it's absolutely insane, right? That's a lot of money. And now they're going to take one of the biggest selling games from the catalog of Activision and they're going to give it away. This does not make financial sense to me, okay? It doesn't. I'm no financial genius, but I'm also not a dumbass. And if I had something with a lot of value, I would rather sell it than give it away for pennies on the dollar. So anyway, let's look at this story and see what happens here. First reported by the Wall Street Journal, Microsoft is allegedly planning to make this year's Call of Duty available on Game Pass from day one. According to the Wall Street Journal, Microsoft will officially announce the move during its June showcase in the industry's customary, formerly E3-centered Game Announcement Week. Microsoft's game subscription service has been a tentpole initiative in recent years, and its acquisition of iconic studios like Bethesda and Obsidian has led to old favorites and new releases being made available on PC, Xbox, and mobile for a monthly payment. Call of Duty has always been the big one, though, one of the most profitable media properties ever, no doubt a big driver of the $70 billion cost of buying Activision Blizzard. Call of Duty's inclusion would add a ton of value and new users to Game Pass. It's also a bit of a make or break move, and I find it hard to look at with anything but trepidation following wave after wave of layoffs and studio closures under the Xbox umbrella. Most recently, the beloved studios Tango Gameworks and Arcane Austin. Part of the squeeze has to come from that fresh $70 billion Activision Blizzard-shaped hole in the balance sheet, as well as sluggish sales of Xbox Series consoles, so far matching the pace of last generation's underperforming Xbox One and moving half as many units as Sony's PlayStation 5. Now, I don't know about you guys. I've never owned an Xbox. I've never had Game Pass. I've looked into it. I've considered buying an Xbox, especially now doing what I'm doing, and I've looked into what Game Pass has to offer for me, and would there be any value in it? Would I spend that monthly amount of money, and would it give me anything that I am not currently getting that I really would desire to have that I'm not getting through PlayStation or, that I own them on my own? And while there's a game or two here and there that come out that's like, well, that might be fun or that might be fun, there's nothing that makes me want to do it. There's nothing that goes, Beefy, you got to get that Xbox Game Pass. You got to. I mean, I was always a Bethesda fan, right? I loved Skyrim, Elder Scrolls games. I loved the Fallout games. I loved, all that kind of stuff. And even Starfield, when I saw the footage coming out of Starfield and all that, I know it's supposed to be like Fallout in space and all this other good stuff, this nice big open world thing, but I've already got that kind of game in No Man's Sky, and it's probably better than what Starfield is. At least that's what I've heard since its release. And also I look at the footage from it, and it looks like a 10-year-old game already, and it just came out last year. One thing Bethesda really needs to do is they need to either scrap their creation engine and go with the Unreal Engine 5, or they need to seriously update that engine of theirs, because it's absolutely dated. Everybody looks stiff, everybody looks like mannequins in the game. There's no realism to it. They just look stiff and cartoonish, and it's a little frustrating. In this day and age, games are making leaps and bounds every year. I mean, if you looked at Callisto Protocol from 2 years ago, it was photorealistic. The characters were insanely detailed, and they looked like, it was hard to tell. Is this something? Am I watching a film, or am I playing a game? It was really wild. So I expect better from a studio like Bethesda, but I don't know. We're just not seeing it yet. So hopefully they'll get that creation engine figured out. Maybe they'll update it. Maybe they'll scrap it all together, do something different, come up with a new engine, or go the route of Unreal 5. I don't know. We'll have to see what the future brings. But let's see what else they're talking about here. Alright, but Game Pass is also in a weird place, according to The Verge. Game Pass failed to meet subscriber growth targets in 2021 and 22, while a recent IGN report quoted 2023 subscriber growth as having slowed down even more. With Game Pass inherently cannibalizing traditional sales of games offered on the service, confirmed by a UK regulator as part of the Activision merger process and reported by GamesIndustry.biz, slowing Game Pass growth threatens to turn it into an especially costly blunder in the long run. And I went over to The Verge. I wanted to see what these numbers are. This is dated February 15th of this year, 2024. It says Game Pass service grows to 34 million subscribers. That's up 36% from the 25 million previously reported more than 2 years ago. The goal Phil Spencer had was 100 million subscribers by 2030. Now, they're saying Microsoft targeted a 73% growth rate for Game Pass subscribers for a single fiscal year that ended in June 2022, but only managed 28%. The company then dropped Xbox Game Pass growth as a target for Satya Nadella's executive compensation last year, after first exceeding its ambitious Game Pass internal targets in 2020 and then failing to meet compensation targets for 2 years in a row. So they're saying that the $34 million figure is reflective of the fact that Xbox Series S and X haven't been selling as well as PS5, and consumers aren't flocking to Game Pass for Xbox cloud gaming on mobile devices. I mean, it is what it is right now. I have a feeling that, Game Pass is great because you can use it on a computer, mobile device, as well as your Xbox, right? So it does have some value in that. You don't need an Xbox to have Game Pass, and there are people that have Game Pass that don't own an Xbox. But do you need Game Pass if you have a gaming computer? Does it really bring any value to you? With the amount of games that are out there for dirt cheap through Steam, especially older games, and Game Pass has a lot of them, is it worth it? Is it really worth it? I don't know. I mean, you tell me. If you subscribe to Game Pass, let me know what you think about it. Let me know what kind of value you see in it. I don't see that much personally, but then again, I'm just one man. So, Microsoft has lots of incentives to put the biggest game series ever on Game Pass. It could prove a huge shot in the arm for the service, with many traditional sales still going through on PS5. It still strikes me as a risky bet, though. That COD money is a guaranteed windfall that Microsoft now wants to adulterate for the sake of Game Pass's success. And as members of Digital Foundry pointed out on a recent podcast, once you've got a single COD release there on day one, it'll be a hard sell to Game Pass subscribers to go back on that deal for future Call of Duties should it not work out financially. And that's the big risk. Once you give something away, it is really, really hard to take it back. It pisses people off. You can say it's only a one-time thing. If McDonald's was to say, hey, we got free French fries this upcoming Sunday and only this upcoming Sunday, well, there's people that aren't going to be able to make it there on Sunday. They're going to want those fries on Monday. They're going to want them on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. They're going to want them the next Sunday, and they're going to be bitching and moaning about it because they're not getting it. And that's just human nature, man. I mean, that's the way it goes. So this is a big risk for Microsoft. They are throwing millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars away probably. I don't know what kind of sales they're going to have on COD, but like I said, it's one of the biggest selling games every year that it comes out. And to give it away is insane. But again, I'm just one guy on the internet. What do I know, right? Dave Oshry, head of the FPS studio New Blood, told me earlier this year that they priced their games once fairly reasonably, about $20 to $25, but don't do any of those huge half off or more Steam sales so as to not devalue the games. You can see the same thing with how Nintendo rarely puts its games on sale. I might not like how much I'll have to shell out for Mario RPG or Paper Mario remakes, but I can't deny it's working out for the publisher, which 10 years ago was solidly in last place among the big three. COD on Game Pass will likely pay dividends on subscribers in the short term, but the service as a whole may risk devaluing the entire Xbox catalog. Then again, it's possible Microsoft is right to put all its eggs in the Game Pass basket. If subscriptions are indeed the future of game delivery, being the first to build the biggest one could lead to huge returns. But at this point, I'm not convinced that a Netflix for gamers revolution is imminent, and that it would be good for us if it were. And that's written by Ted Litchfield. I'm going to go ahead and link to this in the description below. But I got to agree with him, man. I do not think subscription services for games is the future of gaming. I don't like it. I like my PS Plus subscription. It's cool. It gives me a chance to sample different things and all that. But quite frankly, I don't use it nearly enough. I mean, I could probably get rid of it and not miss much. It does, because of my sheer size of my backlog and all that. But it does. It gives me a nice opportunity to go, you know what, I'm going to check out this new game. And I've checked out a few independent games this year. And a couple of them that came, or past couple of years, I should say. And a couple of them that came out on day one, like Stray, for instance. That was out on day one for 6 months or so, I think, or maybe a year. I don't know. And I got to play through it and all that, and I thoroughly enjoyed it, Was it worth paying for a year's worth of PlayStation Plus? No, it wasn't. But I got other stuff out of it, too. But my worry, in the long run, and we're already seeing it start to happen as different companies put out their own launchers, like Ubisoft has Ubisoft Connect, right? You've got Game Pass for Game Pass. You got Steam there for everybody. You've got, the PlayStation, the PSN, PlayStation Network. How long before everybody has a launcher and streaming games become similar to the way entertainment is right now through movies and television, where if you want to watch something, you're like, oh, what's it on? Is it on Paramount Plus? No. Is it on Netflix? Oh, no, it's not on Netflix. Is it on Amazon Prime? No. How about Disney? No, it's not on that. How about Peacock? Where can I watch this damn movie or TV show or whatever? And, why do they only have one season of it? And all this other nonsense. And it absolutely gets crazy. And they all went up in price, right? So, we used to have cable that we paid stupid amounts of money for. We had tons of channels that you didn't watch, and then a few channels that you did enjoy, and then some premium channels that just showed a handful of movies over and over again for a month till you were sick of them. And then we kind of switched to streaming with Netflix. Netflix was the big one there. Once Blockbuster went down as far as rentals go, many of you will remember the old Blockbuster days when you could go rent a video cassette, and you had to rewind it before you brought it back, or you got charged, or later on DVDs. And I think they were even around for the beginning of the Blu-ray revolution. But going there on a Friday night with the family, pick out a few movies and get some popcorn and go home and watch them. Well, Netflix eventually killed that when you could get the movies actually sent to your house with a return envelope to send it back once you got done watching it. And then they went to streaming, and that's when everything really, really changed. And a company like Blockbuster didn't change with it, so it died. But in any case, I see that happening with games. As we switch more and more to digital games only, less people are buying them from brick and mortar stores or ordering them online. I haven't bought a physical copy of a game in years, and that's bad on me. That's actually something I'm not... I know I have my reasons for it, and maybe one day we'll have a discussion on that, but it's not my proudest thing because there's a lot of risk involved in doing that, but it is what it is. But anyway, tell me what you think down below. Do you think releasing Call of Duty on Game Pass day one is a smart move for Microsoft? Do you think it's actually going to make them money? Are they going to get that many subscriptions that it's going to offset the price tag of the game itself for all the players that are going to be playing it from day one? I can't imagine that it will. I honestly can't. And I don't know. I imagine COD releases with a basic setup and a digital deluxe and all these other ones and ones with passes and stuff like that at different price points. Is Game Pass going to put all of them on Game Pass? The most expensive one, or is only going to put the cheap basic one on there? And if you want a better version, you're going to have to either A, pay a price for an upgrade, or B, pay full price for the actual physical, or not physical, but digital download of the entire game. What's it going to be like? I don't know. I'm real curious to see how this works, because this could really be a problem for Game Pass moving forward. I don't know. I kind of agree, and I kind of think that it does devalue games. Anything that's given away free really doesn't have much of a value. And I know it's not free because you pay a monthly fee for it, but yeah, it doesn't have the same thing. And then it's frustrating when they take it away from you. Like Stray disappeared after a year. My girlfriend wanted to play it one day, and it's gone. I have to buy it again if she wants to play it. I'll have to actually buy it, which I wouldn't have any problem doing. But I'm just saying, you're not owning it. You're just kind of renting it. It's just kind of a freebie thing. I don't know. In any case, let me know your thoughts down below. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up. If you haven't done so, please subscribe to the channel. Ring that bell for notifications. And, I'll see you guys next time. Until then, peace.